Bloomberg Audio Studios.
Podcasts, radio, news.
This is Bloomberg Businessweek with Massar and Tim Stenovec on Bloomberg Radio.
We're talking about SpaceX, talking about Boeing, Blue Origin, Axiom Space. Those are just a handful of the companies that operate in the space economy. The World Economic Forum estimates that the space economy will be worth $1.8 trillion by 2035. Another company in that space is Spire Global. Spire says it designs, builds, and operates the world's largest multi-purpose satellite constellation. It's a publicly traded microcap, valuation just about $250 million. The stock up about 24% so far this year. A big part of that after the company in March announced a partnership with NVIDIA to advance AI-driven weather prediction. We've got back with us the founder and CEO, Peter Platzer. He joins us from Geneva. Peter, good to have you with us. We're going to get to the NVIDIA partnership in just a minute, but you operate in the maritime, weather, climate, aviation, and government sectors. Explain what exactly your technology does and the services that you offer clients.
Thanks so much, Tim and Carol. It's a pleasure to be back here. So for the last 12 years, Spire has been delivering data and analytics from space to create a better future on Earth. If you are looking for safer, cheaper flights, our products can help with that. If you want your business to be better prepared for weather, including extreme weather, our services can help you with that. If you're looking for a more reliable, faster supply chain with a lower carbon footprint, we can help with that. Basically, we track activities all across the world, be that ships, planes, or the weather, to create a more sustainable, prosperous, safer future for all of Earth.
So what's the CapEx hardware that you guys actually have to deal with? Or is it mostly data that you're dealing with?
So we are dealing mostly with data. We have, because we are fully integrated, an annual CapEx cost of like $5 to $7 million that support and quasi unlimited amount of revenue. I mean, the company is way over 100 million in revenue and has been growing compound annual growth rate since 2017 over 100%. But we are incredibly efficient, and we collect the data and then we sell it many, many times, just like any subscription company. And while the entry point originally is incredibly high, getting space to work is difficult and tricky. Once you have cracked that nut, which Spire has with over 600 years of space heritage, for us, the maintenance of keeping that constellation up and up to date and at the cutting edge of technology is just $5 to $7 million a year.
Speaking of keeping that constellation up there, I want to talk a little bit about deorbiting and how you were able to address the deorbiting setback and how you've insulated yourself from those risks going forward. So explain what exactly happened.
Right, so the sun has an activity cycle that is between 7 and 11 years. And when it gets the sun more active, it kind of like blows up the Earth's atmosphere and it reaches higher. And that creates increased friction. And as it creates increased frictions with spacecraft, all of them may deorbit a little bit sooner. And as spacecraft get towards the end of their life, for us, it's like 4, 5, 6 years. Small changes can make a big impact. And while we have a very regular replenishment schedule, there was a bit of a mismatch. Now, our constellation is software defined, so that means that we can change what it does, which is exactly what we did. We increased some software capabilities to lower the data latency. We added to our ground station network to create more robustness there. So you adapt to it because as a fully integrated company, we have the ability to do that. And it's one of the huge advantages that Spire has.
Where's your biggest growth?
So there are fundamental trends that we have been betting on for the whole time of the existence of the company, in particular climate change and global security. And they continue to be in 100% operation, driving demand for our products and services forward. But in particular, recently, we've seen some of the supporting trends that we indicated many, many years ago, the growth of the space sector, the digitalization of the global economy, with data being the oil of the 21st century, and AI and machine learning further accelerating our growth. You mentioned it earlier, we have seen contract sizes dramatically increase as we are adding AI to mine our data for increased capabilities. I mean, we are flying NVIDIA Jetson processors for a number of years now because it gets us to insights faster from the massive amount of raw data that we collect.
This is a partnership with NVIDIA that you announced just back in March. The company announced a partnership with NVIDIA to advance artificial intelligence-driven weather prediction. Any more deals like this on the horizon?
Well, as a public company, I would wish to tell you everything that is on the horizon. What I can tell you is that we couldn't be more excited about the demand side that we are seeing, given those trends and the capabilities that Spire has. For better or worse, the threats from a global security perspective, as well as the impact that weather is having on communities, countries, corporations, all across the world, is not diminishing anytime soon. And if anything, we see it consistently and continuously increase. So we love working with companies like an Aurora Tech or a GHG, which is using our capabilities and their capabilities and payloads to predict wildfires and detect greenhouse gas emissions. Companies like Hubble that connect space, from our technology and their technology to Bluetooth devices and driving an IoT revolution to help on everything from transportation to agriculture and much more. So where we see the demand coming from those trends, we see to continue to accelerate and drive the growth of the company.
But Peter, how much in terms of I'm trying to get an idea of, just for our audience, the specific industries. Like weather is obviously weather indicators, right? It's a big part of what you guys do, ship and airline signals. So I'm just trying to understand exactly where the growth is in terms of demand for what you guys provide.
So when you think about, the global supply chain, right, there's many players there that are tackling that problem. You have anything from harbors where there are 5 to 10,000 harbors, right, like the harbor of Rotterdam, one of the largest harbors in the world, a customer of Spire, that is using our data to improve both the efficiency of its operation as well as its greenhouse gas footprint. Then you have the actual charter and shipping companies, which want to optimize the route, and in particularly when they have sensitive cargo, like, for example, a temperature-sensitive cargo or perishable cargo, to optimize the spend that they have on the cargo, with fuel being a massive portion of the balance sheet. And so Spire's both tracking and weather helps them reduce that. And then you have the distribution on land, where, again, weather is making a massive impact. So there already you have tens of thousands of customers that are all operating the supply chain on a global basis, right, that are looking for Spire products. Then you have the financial services companies.
That's what I
think about insurance companies.
That's what I want to know. How much of your business is to the financial area?
So it is not an overwhelming amount, Carol, to be honest, right? It is, we have literally, dozens and hundreds of use cases, but we do have a good portion of our business in the financial services industry, but it is not a dominant industry, I have to tell you, for our customer base.
How much of your business comes from governments, including the European Space Agency and the United States?
About 45%, so less than half of our business is from the government side. Okay. And more than half, about 55%, is commercial customers. You mentioned balance sheet, so I'm curious about your balance sheet, because you announced a registered direct offering of $30 million back in March. How's your cash balance right now? Is that enough?
It just got about 30 seconds.
We have an extremely strong balance sheet, not least because of the fundraising that we did in the first part of the year. That makes us feel very, very comfortable, given that we have re-announced that free cash flow positive is in the summer of this year. We've already been adjusted EBITDA positive and cash flow from operations positive end of last year. So just at the verge of producing our own cash, we feel very, very strong about our balance sheet.
All right, great stuff. So glad we could get some time with you today. Peter Platzer, thank you, the founder and CEO of Spire Global, joining us from Geneva.